Oh, just starting a new print job. Right, so I'm waiting for that to print and I'll show you what it is. I suppose I better turn off Alex Jones. Because, hang on. Right, I'll just mute that with a button. So I've been designing the new segment. So what we've got is, this is what I'm printing now actually. Because obviously the main problem with any kind of a magnet motor is the crossover point. The crossover point is the difference, is the point where you want a traction on the entry. Well, this is the actual just part of the rotor. I just use that as a guide for the circumference. So I put this in my SketchUp model so that I wouldn't have to measure stuff. I could just line it all up and get the arc on the circumference correct. And it's important because as I say, the biggest problem is the incoming needs to be a traction, right? So that as it's coming in, these little slots here on the rotor part are where the magnets are for the attraction. So the biggest hurdle is to get entry, is to get a traction on the entry coming in. Then you need a crossover point where it transitions between attraction to repulsion, and this is what this part is here. This is a little magnet array which I've been playing around with, which has got a bunch of needle nails stuck in it, and you get a pretty strong pull between one side to the other side, which is what I want to use as a screen and as well as a swing to pull that transition point across. So this is what I modelled in the SketchUp here, and the holes are for the pins. So the idea is that I'm going to be using magnets set back behind this array, and these magnets will be on attraction mode to pull the rotor in. Once it gets to this point, it should jump across to the other side. Once it gets onto the other side, it will be at the crossover point. That is the opposite of the attraction. It will be the repulsion side. So I've got an array of magnets which I can set up here, so I can basically add magnets and subtract magnets to create repulsion on the exit side, so that the rotor is pushed away. And all of this array is doing is acting as a screen and a transition point between the attraction side and the repulsion side, so that we don't end up with a problem where it just gets stuck in between, where we have a what you call cogging point, where it has equal amount of pull and you can't seem to get past. So we need to get rid of the cogging point, which is where it gets stuck, which is what this whole assembly here is, I'm hoping, will rectify and sort of fix. So, and I've also got I've put my my alternate magnet array slot here, this hole, which means I can orientate the magnet that way or that way, depending on how I want to affect this exit point over here, because this is actually pulling. So this array here is actually pushing, right? And all of this is pushing on this side, but there's a strong attraction here, so that the magnet will want to, once it comes in, it will want to swing over to this side. Once we get here, this is the problem where I'm going to have, is to have escape, which is why while this is pulling here, these are actually pushing. So we should get a crossover where it will start to exit the segment. So I've also got other slots I've moved around a bit here. I've also moved my screening nanocrystalline slot where I can stick screening material in, because the flux will travel through that and we can have an equilibrium state there where, say, that could be north on this side, and that could be south on this side. So we have a transitional phase across between these two. So anyway, I'm playing around with this, and this is the next one which I'm hopefully going to do. I've been reconfiguring my printer settings tonight as well, because I was using quite a bit of plastic, and I've set it to 10% now, so that there'll be some big voids in this thing, because I don't want to use too much plastic. I want to economize on that a bit. So these will be pretty hollow actually. I won't be able to see until it's printed, but most of it will be inside anyway. You won't see it. So anyway, this is the new model, and the square one I wasn't happy with, because the problem with the square one, I did want to try it just to see, but the square one, I have been playing around with it, but I just can't get it in balance. It's just not coming into balance properly. So the best design is clearly the arc, because I was when I was testing with this magnet array, just this thing here with a bunch of magnets stuck together, I found that this seems to have the best arrangement, which is basically a smaller version of this really, because of the way this actually was originally working. Because the original one that I had was the one that seemed to work pretty well was that one, which has also got my alternate magnet slot there where I can switch the magnets around, and that seemed to do quite well. So I decided to incorporate that section in the middle, and put these other magnets at the back here, so we can find out. We can just try that out. So anyway, so maybe tomorrow, or I don't know, it's getting a bit late actually right now. I don't think it'll be tonight, but it's getting late. But tomorrow I'm hoping that we'll have something useful to show. I'm not saying I'm going to be live, but if it's worthwhile, then I'll live stream it. But if it's not, then it'll be. This is version 6, by the way. I've gone through 6 of these so far. So hopefully this will be the one that does it. We'll see anyway. Right. So bye for now.